Opinion polls.
Well, this is the first time that we've had to play the BBC for 5 minutes, but now Underplayed and Underpaid is on the radio waves. Braden will not be joining me today, so it's just me, myself, Brian McNeil, holding it down, and I got a friend with me, actually, a wonderful artist. Paul MacLeod is here. How you doing, Paul?
I'm doing great, thanks. I'm currently taking a picture of myself all kitted out in the headphones and big microphone here for automatic updates as we go.
Oh, the good old Facebook.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
I should do the same thing. So, Paul, what have you been up to? We did an interview with you, I believe it was last fall. And
right outside the venue at Jimmy Jazz. We did that one. That was great. Well, since then, I released another album on Busted Flat Records. This one's called Gauge. I put it out right at the start of, I guess the end of January, but I'll just call it the start of 2011. And took it out on the road in 3 little trips. Went out east and out to Halifax and back with Lynn Jackson. She's on Busted Flat Records as well. And then did a few trips between Montreal and back with Lucas Stagg. Mm-hmm. And then since that time, I've just been home doing some more writing. A bit of session work for other people with the guitar and lots of accordion, which has been fun. Yeah. In the last 6 months I get to use. I'm not particularly proficient at it. I just there's one that I can get some really, really great sound out of and pick some good parts out of. So that's served me well.
Is that the accordion that I see in your
it's the little red one with the buttons, yeah. If you watch somebody who's really, really good at playing it, it's a sight to behold, but I use it more as background parts or any little melody parts or chording than anything else. I can't really, I can't tear it up on the thing by any means, but doing that work. And then so just writing since then, trying to get ready. I want to get something recorded quickly. The last one was just myself and a guitar, which is how I started recording. And in between, I made a few different kinds of records. One more of a prog rock record with Hibakusha, and then I made an album with Hawksley Workman, and that was a lot of fun. And he played drums and piano on that whole record. And then the one prior to Gauge called Bright Eyes Fade, and the song Annalisa did really well for me on CBC Radio and bolstered my ability to go out and play more shows out east, more venues, more people. So this one, the one that I've just released this year was a return to just guitar and voice, and so I want to do another one of those. And really, that record was recorded in one night, and maybe an extra track done the next night, and a little bit of mixing, and that thing was done. And I've got to say, after recording several records of my own, and then with other people, the Skydiggers, and then being session player for other bands, I really, when it comes to making my records, I really enjoy the real quick, try to capture performances and go with your instincts more than trying to get a perfect take. So I've really enjoyed that, and I want to get another one done. I'd like to have it done by the end of the summer. I don't know when that would mean it would be released. That's really up to the label, but I just like to really knock another one off. I'm feeling really good about performances and the new stuff, so I'd like to have something quickly and not feel like you're spinning your wheels, because now you feel like you really do whatever you want. It doesn't have to. I don't get the sensation you have to put out a full-length album every 12 months on a schedule now. It's a very, very different world than it was when I started, so you feel like you can trust your instincts and do whatever you want.
That's good. Gauge, the new album, you just said that you recorded it in one session?
Yeah.
And
2 nights in October, and the second night I think we caught just maybe the very last song, and probably because that was done guitar and vocal separately, that was a brand new song. I'd never performed it before. So that to me was that was as finicky as I got, was full isolation with the guitar part and the vocal part on that song.
And the song you're referring to is It Belongs to You?
Yes, yeah.
Right on. For the younger artists or artists who are just less experienced, how much does it usually cost to put out an album?
That's really tough. It wouldn't be fair for me to say a solo recording represents what it would cost to record a 4 or 5 piece band by any stretch, because not just setup time and getting all the tracking done. Now you're talking mixing is now profoundly more complicated to make a good mix out of. So I would hate to hazard a guess, but I will lean I can tell you in my case that I've tracked 2 records for about $500. That's just the tracking, paying for going in with just a guitar and a voice. But I can also tell you that a really good friend of mine, Rob Zabo, just did a piece in Words and Music. It's the SOCAN members magazine that comes around. It's just a little your industry trade magazine to keep you up to date on who's doing what and what's new and what's available to you as a writer or a composer or an arranger. And he mentioned something in the neighborhood where he thought $15,000 was a pretty good ceiling for a band to get, when he was discussing different ways of bands raising that money in this article. This was particularly pre-orders and kind of people almost pre-investing in somebody's career or helping get it started as a means of raising money for records. But anything in between, and I would I've never made a really, really expensive record. And because of the nature of what I do, I can get away with sounding a little more lo-fi, or there's actually a lot more charm if I don't sound like I've just recorded at Sting's Castle. So, but having said that, I don't have to worry about drums and bass, and I don't have to worry about mixing a lot of tracks together, and that's where things become costly. So I'd really look into it, but there are a lot of people here in Guelph, with tons and tons of experiences and home studios and lots to choose from. So
yeah, actually, I just picked up a card outside. Robbie G is now officially an engineer now. His Re-Evolution Media Studios. Robbie G, who's got a Wednesday night show with Molly Gruesome, and I'm supposed to be getting Molly's interview in by next week.
Yeah.
So,
oh, there you go. Well, he'd be a perfect guy to talk to then about, especially locally, what's going on. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, so you're a big fan of cycling.
Oh, yeah.
You're
I love it.
En route to get yourself a new helmet.
Proper helmet. I'm currently using what's called a Chinelli hairnet. And so if anyone can picture old pictures of cyclists, they wore those helmets that look like leather tubes, all kind of, 3 over the top of your head and one that kind of goes around your temples, and they offer no protection at all. They just have I'm sure now there's a real hipster value to me having this helmet. So I've been harassed by a number of people, politely harassed to go out and get a proper helmet before my head hits the concrete. So yeah, and road cycling is what you're talking about. So I strongly recommend helmets for anybody who's out on a light bike with skinny tires. They're pretty skittish, so a lot can happen to you quickly.
So I've overheard you speaking about Lance Armstrong.
The woes, everything that's been going on. Yeah, well, it's fascinating. I mean, I think the reason that story has, nobody needs, you don't need me to tell you why the story carries so much weight. He's a legend. He's done some unbelievable things sporting wise, but that's, that comes second to the work that he's done for cancer awareness. And he's a very heroic guy. But in terms of cycling, there were really 2 camps. There are cycling fans and Lance Armstrong fans. And this is after 99 when he won the Tour. Before that, he was a liked guy as a one-day rider, and was not a strong mountain climber, and was not strong at the individual time trial, which are 2 things necessary to win the Tour de France, which he rode 4 times and finished once, I believe high 30s, mid 40s. And then he almost died. And then he came back, and then he won that race 7 times in a row. And not too many cycling fans who are around before his rise to dominance really need to see positive blood test results to have an idea of what exactly got him to that level. I mean, that's become more and more obvious. I just like it as a sport, so it's just an interesting time. And I guess I'm glad, if there's anything I'm glad about, is that his presence put it back on television over here. So starting next Saturday, that race will be on every day on TSN. Canada's actually got the rights to broadcast it.
Is it the Tour de France?
Tour de France, yeah, July 2nd. And so I just love it. It's a great sport. And even if you don't care much for the sport, just sit and watch the scenery. It's absolutely beautiful. But yeah, it's a real shame. I guess to me, it's it's the Wiener episode. I've been waiting for years for him to just hold that press conference and go, all right, of course, come on, let's get real. What did you want me to do? If I didn't do this, if he didn't do it, it's arguable that he would have just had to give up and pack it in. There was no way around it. But the righteous indignation about there's no possible way I cheated is growing a little tiresome, anyways. But I wish him all the best. That's for sure. Cycling's not certainly the least important thing that he does, right? That he offers the world. So.
Well, on the subject of possible blood doping, you never know, right?
That's true.
Until admissions happen.
I could be 100% wrong about this.
What else? What have you read recently on the subject of blood doping? You were talking to me about a book, the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, man. Well, that wasn't so much. Yeah, that stuff wasn't really about those guys. The escapades of those guys had very little to do with they didn't get into performance-enhancing drug use with these guys really on any level. It was just more about the wild behavior of these guys outdo. I would have to imagine if you put the Dallas Cowboys era with what's the guys, Troy Aikman at the helm. And Jimmy Johnson and Barry Switzer as the coaches, Emmett Smith, yeah. Michael Irvin, that genre of guys. If you put those guys on a tour bus with Motley Crue and send them across the country, I bet you the Cowboys would survive that one. Motley Crue would be probably halfway across the country going, please let me out of this. I want to, those guys would be begging to get off that bus. They couldn't keep up with the way those guys lived. It's outrageous. It's certainly worth looking up. Well, everybody knows Michael Irvin was caught on his birthday with the two prostitutes and a former teammate and a whole slew of drugs and sex toys in this room after leaving dinner with his wife to go party with his friends. So it was just that's barely, that story seemed to shock everyone, and that's about as tame as the whole thing gets. So yeah, I'm really intrigued by the rock star habits of some of the athletes. I think I get a real kick out of it when it's all self-harm, when they're not, as long as it's themselves, they're doing it too. I'll sit back and enjoy it. I don't really care.
Do you happen to remember the name of the book or the author?
Oh, Boys Will Be Boys, maybe is the name of it. Yeah, the guy he's an ESPN guy, Jeff Pearlman, if I'm not mistaken. I actually recognized him. I don't really know sports journalism aside from anything George Costanza referenced about it on Seinfeld, so Mike Lupica would be the only name I know.
Well, now there's Norm Macdonald doing the sports.
Yeah, I hear that got canceled.
Oh, did it?
Somebody told me that. I don't know if it's a bad rumor. I've actually heard it from a few people. I don't know if it's just a rumor or it's not hard to understand. He repeatedly he's on the air for what seems like a minute and gets pulled. I'm a huge fan of his, and I saw him live at the King Edward Theatre in Toronto. It's King Edward. I'm making places up. Was it the Queen Elizabeth or the King Edward Hotel? I saw him in Toronto somewhere. And great, I sat in the front row and then had just laughed my head off. And then whenever I see him on TV not sitting behind a desk talking, I'm really uncomfortable. I think he's hilarious, but as soon as he gets up or he's moving around or he's standing somewhere in the middle of the scene, I'm fully aware that he's fully aware how awkward he looks. So I find that humorous, but I wouldn't be surprised if the show was canceled.
Right on. So, staying on the subject of sports, do you think that with the current and common no child left behind mindset that parents have, that we could produce another Wayne Gretzky in this great country of Canada?
I love this question because it's it seems like a bit of a ringer, Brian, but I love this question. Well, I think that's most definitely not. I rail on this pretty often, but the idea that you bring everything down to a level, it's this whole theory of mine started over a real issue, which was, when you would kids are playing a game, and they want to let the one kid come in and play soccer with them, but he's really fragile and he's uncoordinated, so we're going to switch that ball out, and we're going to put this soft sponge ball out there so no one gets hurt. And now that means some other guys can come over and play because they're afraid of that ball. And now you've got you've got this idea of all these kids are now forced to be mediocre because the one guy can't keep up. So yeah, I think it makes for good it makes for good comedy or good observation, but there's a dark side to it too, which is what people always, most of the complaints you hear from people about their experiences with education when they find things were too slow moving for them was like, yeah, well, that's too bad because that is the pace now, because they can't leave those people behind for the sake of a handful of you. And so I find it humorous to look at it in the sporting way, where it would be a real shame to, if you had on Wayne Gretzky's street, if, they have to remove the puck, and because now they got to use a tennis ball because that guy's a hemophiliac or something, and he's got to play every time they play. And now there's no chance of these people developing. They show up in high school, they're 5 steps behind everyone, and it's game over. So I could see that happening in a fun way, but then there's the dark and disturbing way of, where do I get an education? I'm being slowed down. I'm only 15, and I'm losing patience. I can't get into university fast enough. So,
All right. Well, staying with competition, what do you love most about poker?
Oh wow. Oh well, for me, I like playing it. So instead of watching it, but I like the just trying to read people, trying to figure people out, and that's something that I really always like about music was figuring out what would work out of, you have a catalog of your own material that you take out on the road, and some nights are great concerts and people come out and pay their money and come in and listen, and it's fantastic. That's easy. And other nights you got a room full of people, but you got to win them over, and what stuff's going to work and what's not. And reading a room is the same idea with reading people. So I really enjoy that part about the game. I really play low stakes. Even when I go to the casino, I still just play a 1-2 table. I'm hardly risking a lot of money, and our home games are really cheap. So, but aside from the reading people, the thing I like most about poker is winning money.
Yeah, so I could assume.
Yeah.
All right. Well, how about we go with this question now? If you could get any band to play at your birthday party, what band would it be and why?
Whoa, that's tough. I had a joke response to that earlier, which was when you bounced a few ideas off me for questions, and my joke response was Van Halen with David Lee Roth, as long as it wasn't the same time that Jeff Spicoli was having any sort of graduation party. But who would it seriously be? That's tough. If I could get the Rio Statics with Dave Clark on drums, I'd probably go with that, because that was one of the, for me, when I could start seeing bands at a club level when I was over the age of 19 and I could get into clubs to see shows. I just didn't have to go to a concert venue. That band, I saw a lot of great bands and enjoyed all of them, but that band just lit me up, where I thought, boy, you can do anything. You really can go and make the music you want to make, and just go do it. And really trust keep coming back to, but just trusting your instincts that, if I want to do this, it was so sensational to me to see this broad range of music, and it was crazy. The first time I saw them was at a benefit at the Red Chevron here in Guelph, and I was living in Waterloo at the time. And I'd never been to the Red Chevron. And so when I went in, and then they were on stage, and they had a crown and anchor wheel. But instead of numbers or symbols, I don't know what's on a crown and anchor wheel or whatever, but it was all titles of songs. So wherever they'd spin the wheel, and wherever the wheel stopped, they had to play the song.
Right on.
And then, but it therefore made the set just go all over the place. And then there was this added visual fun of, well, Can I get up there and spin the wheel? And I said, well, of course you can. And then someone goes up from the audience and gets to spin the wheel. And then they have fun with the wheel, of course. It stops on a song 3 times that they're not ready to play. And, of course, they just move it 1 click and move on from there. So just everything about it was a brilliant and irreverent and classically presented at times too. It was just a real show, and the variety just blew me away, and it almost made me feel more punk rock about just being a guy on a guitar, thinking there was something to it's like, yeah, that's different too. You know, it was just neat. It gave you felt like you belonged. I guess for some reason you felt like they were a band for the underdog, and the music that they played was so varied, and they were a huge influence. I mean, they were certainly a huge influence on the musicians here in Guelph that I knew at the time. And if anyone remembers, who's listening, if anyone remembers ID Magazine, I would hardly need to convince you that
like ID?
Yeah, that it may have been. It almost felt like the unofficial fanzine for them at times, and rightfully so, because they were probably at that time, at the height of those guys, that magazine, and a lot of the scenes in southwestern Ontario, they were the most vibrant people. They were almost the champions of the cause, really, of independent music, actually, not just being commercial music that's waiting to break through. This was, these guys were in the footsteps of Max Webster and some prog rock and a little bit of Zappa here and there and a little bit of this and it was just great. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, a real fun band. So those would be the guys for sure. If I could put together, it would be way too hard to start guessing at any other band, but that one definitely.
Yeah. Very cool. Last time I visited your place, I noticed that you were getting interviewed, and I asked the lady, I can't remember her name, and I'm sorry.
Oh, Hélène Beaulieu, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I asked Ellen what she was interviewing you for, and she said she was doing a biography.
Well, she's wanted to compile some stuff to see what she could put together. I'm not too sure. Like, we'll do another session at another time. That was the second one I've done over a little period of time. So, yeah, I'm curious to see. I met her through her boyfriend, John Bice, who is a sound man. I was telling you about John. John worked and learned with Roger Sutka, who was doing front of house for the Rio Statics, and then he went on to Our Lady Peace and Chantal Kraviatsuk and was doing those shows along with some other artists at different times that he'd been doing front of house sound. So John was his assistant, his stage guy, sometimes would do monitors at the gigs and that. So that was how I ended up meeting her. And the first it started over an interview she had to do for her master's program. She had to put together a few interviews for something, and it just kind of grew organically out of that.
Right on. All right. Well, would you like to perhaps pick up a guitar and bang?
Yeah. Let's see.
Tell me a little bit about "Be My Girl." It's a very, very interesting, old-sounding.
Oh yeah, well I wrote that. That's a fun one, really. I wrote it. That was always a guitar part first, where I was working on kind of these old, those old-timey sounding rags on the guitar, like the finger picking kind of I'd even hate to get the decade wrong, but like a 40s feel, or maybe even sooner than that. And it just has this blues ragtime feel to it, and I was just having some fun with them, and the idea of the song is almost, once I'd written this guitar part, the song pretty much starts writing itself for you. You got to be kind of light and tongue-in-cheek with it. You have to go along with it, and you have to get into character when you start a piece of music like that. And I mean, to do anything, to try to write something profound or to be dark and sinister or clever with some jaunty musical backdrop just seemed ridiculous to me. So once I'd fooled around with the guitar part, that was those lyrics. I mean, geez, they're, I'd hate to say they're throwaway, because I find them completely appropriate for what the song is. But I mean, those just come flying out at that point. The song's writing itself. It's basically my job to stay out of the way once that starts rolling. So, yeah. Cool. Is that the one you want to hear? Or?
Yeah. Let's say we start with "Be My Girl." This is Paul MacLeod on 93.3 CFRU on Underpaid and Underplayed.
All right. Thank you. got no time for the human race. Everybody fighting all over the place. Why don't we grab a bottle and head uptown? Baby, won't you be my girl? I trade my old 6-shooter for a diamond ring. Take you all the places that you've never been. We'll make it right at the border and just get lost. Baby, won't you be my girl? I ain't got no time for feeling lonely. I got the whole town, baby, on a little old string. Come on over tonight and you can be my thing. I trade my old 6-shooter for a diamond ring. Take you all the places that you've never been. We'll make it right at the border and just get lost. Baby, won't you be my girl? Got no time for feeling lonely. I got the whole town, baby, on a little old string. Come on over tonight and you can be my thing. Well, I got no time for the human race. Everybody fighting all over the place. Why don't we grab a bottle and head uptown? Baby, won't you be my girl? Baby, won't you be my girl? Baby, won't you be my girl?
Well, that was lovely. Thank you very much,
thank
Paul.
you.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that song ever since I heard it. And I actually didn't think that you wrote it when I first heard it.
I actually get that a lot because of Jen. I like that. That was every time I get that. There's about certain songs that I've written. I'm always really flattered because it's people always feel like they've insulted you, but not really, because it can mean a lot of good things. So often I find it means like, oh, that song, had to exist somewhere, right? Where's that from? Mm-hmm. It just sounds like a song that probably was released at this time, or it must have been by an artist like this. I think that's a good thing, really. I mean, because that song is a definite style and a definite, so it behooves you to just do it and let it be in the style. It's almost to the point of, at the writing stage of, well, if you want to screw with that and take it out of that style, then get out of there now, because if you continue with that rhythm and those chord voicings, it's writing itself at this point. So in that case, that had such a strong indicator of what it was that it almost, to me, it felt like it had to just be that and go there. So, because I always reference, it's like a Hoyt Axton lyric or something. He's a guy, he wrote some great tunes, and some people might remember him for his appearance on WKRP as a old singer-songwriter coming back to marry the beautiful receptionist Jennifer Marlowe, but all he really wanted was a foot in the door in the music industry. But he's a real kind of sense of humor in the songs, and a big baritone, and a kind of an old-timey vibe about him. So it's right out of that catalog of stuff when I started with the idea, and it almost pulls you right into it. So I really like that about it. It's like, I couldn't believe every time, for the first 2 or 3 weeks after writing it, I remember I'd start playing it and just laugh, going, oh man, how am I going to explain this one? Yeah, that was the logical next song coming from you. I don't think I saw that coming. So,
oh, well, that was a great piece of art, and thank you very much for sharing
it.
Thank you. What other song would you like? How about December?
Sure, yeah, I'll do that for sure.
So this is December by Paul MacLeod on 93.3 CFRU.
I'll take this chance to tell my friends what I'm thinking of. On second thought, I'll think some more and tell you later on. She don't even care that I would die for her love. My mind is full of several things take this chance to tell my friends what I'm thinking of. She don't even care that I would die for her love. I've had this plan for many years, but now I can't remember why I wanted to assassinate December. Why I wanted to assassinate December. She don't even care that I would die for her love.
Another beautiful song off of the album Gauge by Paul MacLeod. So is that guitar?
Thank you.
Is it
yeah, it is. Thank you. Yeah, Brian has supplied the acoustic. I've got my gear for the gig tonight at Jimmy Jazz, so I've just got my Telecaster amp and pedals with me, and it would be really inappropriate to haul all that stuff in here and set it up. So it was great if you bring it. It's a really nice one. I was never... excuse me, I guess I've never a fan when I was buying acoustic guitars of the Fenders at the time, because they weren't actually great guitars. This is a really, really nice guitar.
Yeah.
Do you know what year it is?
1970.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
It's the year I was born.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's, my father actually passed it down to me,
Yeah.
I think about a year ago. So
Yeah, it's a really nice neck.
Yeah.
Just, you tell by, it just looks right. So, yeah, it's great.
it's been taken care of.
Yeah.
All right, well, tell us about December, please.
Oh, for sure. That's a
Assassinate
cover.
December.
That's a cover song.
Oh, is it? Okay. Who
That
did
is
the
a
original?
Teenage Fan Club song, and so one of my favorite things about telling you the story is it. For who knows how many covers I'll record in my lifetime. That's the second one I did on the first album, which is a live show from Edmonton, the Sidetrack Cafe. I recorded "Black Boys on Mopeds" by Sinead O'Connor. And I didn't know at the time what you did, so you wanted to record a cover, and I learned. You contact the CMRRA, and they send you some paperwork, and you send them some paperwork and a bit of money per units pressed kind of thing to record a cover song. And depending on some songs, the rights aren't, some you'll get told, nope, that one's completely unavailable. But there's no... there's no direct permission necessarily required to record most material. Some material, but that's very rare, is blocked from anyone touching. But most writers and people who own the rights to songs want more people to record the song, because they own the royalty share of that song as the writers. And this song, it's a different version of it. It's just a rearranged music for it. But I've kept the same melody, but in their version of the song, it's a major key song, like based around a 3-chord progression with a little minor thing in it, and I just flipped it to a minor song that has a bit of that seems to pull into the major key just for the chorus. It's almost wound up being the opposite, and I just stumbled across it by accident when I was working on an idea. I just started singing that song over top of it and finished this arrangement of it, and really wanted to record it. And so Mark Logan, who runs Busted Flat Records, was friends with Norman Blake from Teenage Fan Club. But these guys are Scottish. He's over living in Glasgow, and I guess it's about a year now, maybe a little longer, when he moved into my neighborhood, Norman Blake from Teenage Fan Club. And he didn't write this particular track, but they all write songs and all the records together, and individually contribute songs as well. And so this was the time where I got direct permission to say, here's a version of a song. So he went and played it for the writer and the guy who wrote it. And they came back and said, yeah, I love it. Go ahead. That's great. Thank you for recording it. So I got to, I've since become friends with Norman and his wife Krista, and they literally live 2 blocks from me in Kitchener now. So it's a fun musical neighborhood. There's a lot of different, from the symphony players right down to rock bands to and everything in between. So it's a great neighborhood we live in, and he's certainly a welcome addition. And I was thrilled to meet this guy when Bandwagon S came out in, I guess, 91. That's still a record I listen to on a regular basis, and as are a few of their records. And I mean, as you get older, the time you have to listen to music, gets less and less for me anyways. I'm not as maybe if I'm sitting at the computer for an extended period of time or something like that, or I've got people over, but just listening to music time is usually me working on music time. So I still manage to find time to play that stuff. So to end up friends with the guy is great, and he's back in August from some dates that he's out playing now, and so we'll get to do some work sooner than later with him. I'm not sure what that'll entail, but we're definitely going to get together and do something, whether it's right or a little bit of recording. So I'm really looking forward to that. And
very cool.
Yeah,
right on. Congratulations on that, Tom.
Oh, thanks.
So, do you feel like doing another song right now?
Yeah. We got time for one more? Do we?
Oh, we got time for a couple more.
Oh, okay, excellent.
I would definitely like to hear Another White Band if you're able to play it, but
I might keep it on the mellower side,
okay.
Really, but we'll see. Only because we'll see what I can do. But I was going to for this one. Yeah, I thought I'd do Change Your Life for this one.
Great.
Because having the acoustic guitar for this song is nice. So
wonderful. So this is Change Your Life by Paul MacLeod on 93.3 CFRU.
Could change your life, or would you use this knife? Cut up the whole of the world, tear out the heart of a girl, knowing it's you who'll die. If you could change your life, oh, give me one good reason why I should walk a straight line when all around me are crooked looks and filthy lies. And in the hearts of the weak ones there lives a tear that I truly despise. Don't feel the need then to need them, just the need to get what's mine. If you could change your life, would you use this knife? Cut up the whole of the world, tear out the heart of a girl, knowing it's you who'll die. If you could change your life. Oh, if there's a time for believing, it was then, now, and forevermore. But they'll all deceive you and leave you torn out to a hollow core. It only hurts when you let it. It only matters when you soften more. Oh, but soon you'll regret it. Watch the heads fall when the anger roars. If you could change your life, would you use this knife? Cut up the whole of the world, tear out the heart of a girl, knowing it's you who'll die. If you could change your life, if you could change your life.
Another lovely piece by Paul MacLeod on 93.3 CFRU, University of Guelph Campus Radio. Thank you so very much for sharing that.
Thank you.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about writing this song?
Yeah, that one is an older one, actually. I was given an opportunity to work on a film, and I guess the synopsis, or a plot summary of the film had been given to me to come up with some stuff. There were very specific instructions about the music, and then just a few loose ends where it was, see if you got something for this or write something. And it was actually all based on the story that I found the story really intriguing, and then just tried to put myself in the place of basically what kind of lengths I would go to do something to change your life. And in the case of this movie, it had to do with an amount of stolen money or ill-gotten money that had been passed around. It's quite clever. It was really cleverly done, and the movie's called 22 Hands because the money made its way through 11 sets of hands, and before making its way back and just leaving a trail of death and destruction in its path, and hell for anybody who got their hands on this package, kind of thing, and everything they had to sacrifice to get it in the first place, and how it. And so it was just really neat. It was nice. It was the first time I'd probably had an opportunity to try to tailor something to a story or to something instead of just using my imagination or running with an idea that I had. So to have some sort of instructions on something, it was the first exercise in me doing it, and I liked the way that one turned out. And I found in that case it worked because I could identify with at the time that I was writing it. There was, I remember I could identify with the real desperation of, I need to get more work, I need to get more stuff going on. And so it was very easy for me to sink right in and write that song at the time, because I myself was probably hoping that a giant satchel of money would land in my lap and make things a little easier at the time too. So it was a good exercise, and I was glad with the way that one turned out. Don't think, any footage of that movie has seen the light of day since, but people involved in it have gone on to do quite good things. And who knows, maybe it will surface someday. But definitely for me, out of all of that work and concerted effort of recording a bunch of material that may never see the light of day, you still get some good stuff out of that. It's still worth it in the end. So.
Could you share what the name of the movie was?
22 Hands.
22 Hands.
Yes.
Okay, so you mentioned it before.
Yeah.
I just wanted
No, that's okay. Yeah, quite all right.
Very nice song, and it's always a pleasure to hear you play these songs at the Jimmy Jazz every Monday night.
Yes.
I plug you every show.
It's a great night. It's a really good people, great room, just a really good night. I love coming to Guelph. It's been my musical home. First original shows that I got were based on Guelph, Ontario. The first band I opened for was upstairs at the Albion Hotel.
Oh, yeah?
And I think Simon and Sandy were booking it at the time. Simon maybe for sure at the tail. It was great. Opened for the Waltons. Oh. And I'm still see Jason Plum on a regular basis. It's been a couple of years now, but I would definitely consider him a friend. He's a great guy. And opened for the Skydiggers up there. A lot of bands that I met and went on to forge relationship with and do tours with and play with and write with. All roads led to Guelph for me. It was Guelph and Maryhill, the Commercial Tavern in Maryhill.
I was just going to ask.
And Waterloo, then Club in Waterloo really picked up the ball, and then that introduced me to the fact that there already was an underground band scene in the area I was in. But then that thing all blew up with all these bands in the early 90s. And so for me, timing was just lucky timing more than anything. I feel like if I'd have come along 5 years earlier or 5 years later, that window of opportunity might not have been there. A lot of people I talk to feel as though a lot of those doors are closed now, and I can get that. But this area, it never feels like that. It always feels thriving, and I don't know if that's a falsehood or not, or if it's a fallacy or not, but you get the sensation it is. And what the bands that come through vinyl, Jimmy Jazz, Van Gogh's, I've played PCH, Peter Clark Hall. I'm sure that's in the am I not in the same building? Is that?
Directly below us.
Peter Clark Hall, several times I've played there. So I love it. Played outside too. Skydiggers did. I'm trying to think of the space. Not the
Johnson Green,
no,
maybe?
I have been at the Johnson Green to see shows. I've never played that stage.
Well, there's no stage. It's just a big field.
But they stuck a stage up. I remember they filmed something once. There was a show. It's like George Fox and Friends, and we all went to see the Skydiggers play. And so you're standing at the front of the stage for the Skydiggers set, you know, everybody snuck in their drinks and their lemonade containers, had a great old time. And, you know, George Fox starts, and we let, you know, kind of make room for the folks who want to see George Fox. And then you're at home, you know, 2 months later, it's going to be on CBC. So we tune in to watch, and they've re-edited the whole show to make it look like we're just the biggest George Fox fans you've ever seen. I look like I'm just, you know, absolutely in love with George Fox. I can't get enough of this guy, apparently.
Right on.
It's great.
Actually, I was meaning to ask, how does Lulu's fit into your past history?
Oh, I've only played there once. I know very little about it, aside from when it was hopping, I guess. But I imagine the big thing holding it back would have been the rent for that space, or just, geez, opening the doors, period, for a place that big must have cost so much money. But I actually played on stage there only once, and it was accordion.
Really?
Odd that's coming up again, with a band called the Groove Daddies, and they had a song called Expensive Suits that had this really neat little melody part that would be played on the guitar and by my accordion at the same time. And it was this neat little riff in the song, and it was a really catchy tune. It was a good song. And the Groove Daddies, guitar player and lead vocalist and chief writer was Rob Zabo, who since then has had a few different bands, but mainly known now for his solo work all across Canada and the United States. And he had a song, Breaking Even, I think was the name of it. Like, he had made this incredible video for a song a few years back that made #1 on Much More Music. The animation for the video was just stellar, and it was a great opportunity that landed in his lap. And so they made this video, and it did really well for him. He's a great guy. But yeah, he's come up in 2 interviews this week, actually. My link to Rob Zabo. Somebody else was talking about seeing posters at a venue, and they kept seeing the tour that I was doing with Lucas. It was Paul MacLeod and Lucas Stagg, Paul MacLeod. Wherever they'd see that poster, right invariably beside it, on top, or like above it, below it, to the right or left would be the Rob Zabo poster, because we were about a week apart at all the dates. And, you know, we started playing together years ago. And, you work on your own music, and then we'd get together Sunday nights and play covers to, you know, make it easier to make rent and all that stuff. So a bunch of us would get together. And that band, Rob Zabo was in it. Dan Cornelius was the drummer for a while. He's Danko Jones' drummer. Oh, and then I played guitar and sang. And the bass player is now running a bed and breakfast and is a musician as well in Ireland. So it's a good group of people to be around, and good timing more than anything. But yeah.
Right on. Well, how do you feel about doing one more song?
Yeah, let me think of...
and doesn't have to be off this album?
That's what I was thinking. I could maybe mix things up a little. Yeah, I'm pretty impressed. This thing hadn't been tuned for quite some time, and it seems it's awfully close and holding it well for only being slapped into tune for about 5 minutes. It's a very good sign of how this will hold up for you. Yeah, well, why don't I actually... What I should do... I know what I'll do. I'll stop wasting your precious time and get on with it, eh?
Oh, no. Please take your time.
Yeah, let's try this.
In a world and in its sounds, in every street, in every town I go, there's a wreckage of desire, feelings never hired a soul, where cellophane and thunder always roll, and the factories build fantasies you long. I can only find a murder machine. I can only find a murder machine. From a notion of the times to the hurt love gives a mind, I've died. From every Newton hour to those who have the power who won't try, until a surplus sound of sanity grows bold. Will a master-slave mentality endure? I can only find a murder machine. I can only find a murder machine. I can only find a murder machine. I can only find a murder machine.
Back again, 93.3 CFRU. It's Underplayed and Underpaid. Brian McNeil here with Paul MacLeod. Braden will be back next week. Could you tell us about that song?
That's one of my favorite songs. That's by a band. That's a cover song. That's by a band called That Petrol Emotion. I'm going to just say the UK, as I'm not 100% sure exactly where they were from. And that song, if I want to put a year on it, I'm guessing 87, 88. I'm not 100% sure. Somewhere in the mid to late 80s. Somewhere before the grunge scene exploded.
Grunge.
And they were I couldn't even think of a song other than that one, or Big Decision to reference as something people might know. I don't even know if they were a popular act in Canada or not, but that song struck me growing up. I just remember it had accordions on it and what sounded like, mandolins and just high-strung string instruments if they weren't mandolins, like, maybe even just mandolas, and just it was a really interesting sound to me. But I liked the message of the song very much. And it's, so as with all of those, whether you're writing a song about war or poverty or just commercialism run rampant, whatever the messages in all those songs, the messages in those songs, they never grow tired, and they're never out of place. You hope at some point in time that some kid's going to come walking up and go, what are they talking about with all these songs about, people were killing each other, and that's never going to happen. Those songs are going to have to be continually written. But that was the first song for me where I really, I hadn't heard it, those instruments used. This band didn't normally use instruments like that, but accordions and mandolins and things outside of Irish music or outside of, say, polka music or Greek bouzouki music or whatever. These instruments weren't showing up in too many places, and just a mainstream song. And I think that's what drew me to it at first. And then I found later on, I was like, I actually really, really like this song. So it's a rare one to find, but you can go out and find. I know I always throw it on YouTube. I don't even have my own copy of it right now. So I just throw it up on YouTube whenever I want to listen to it. Yeah. I'm
sure they appreciate the hits.
Yeah.
All right, so that was Paul MacLeod, Murder Machine, 93.3 CFRU. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on. Paul MacLeod, of course, tonight is at Jimmy Jazz every Monday. And then Sunday night, he's always at the Boathouse in Kitchener. Yeah, whenever I'm not on the road, those are my two regular nights, the Sundays and Mondays. Boathouse in Victoria Park. It's a great venue as well. And Jimmy Jazz, Jimmy Jazz is an institution. I doubt I need to say much about it. I'm sure you've already made up your mind about the place if you live here. I absolutely love it. So, and staff's always been great. And I always have to give very big props to both of those venues, and to Conrad and Tim and Kevin, the people who run those places, because they allow me the freedom to go in there and do what I want once a week when I'm home. And then if I have to go away and play solo dates, Skydiggers dates, anything
any dates, and I need to be gone for 6 weeks, I've still got that show waiting for me when I come home, and that's a pretty rare thing to have that. So it's something I really look forward to playing and doing a really good job at, because I certainly don't want to, again, as I get older, I realize how lucky I am for things like that. So I certainly don't ever want to catch myself taking it for granted.
A slight correction. Tim is no longer with Jimmy Jazz.
Are you serious?
Yeah, Tim has moved on. I believe Saga or Sobel.
Oh, all the fishing stuff?
Yeah, he's actually managing a bar up there and doing really well for himself. So congratulations to Tim Smythe.
Oh, geez, good. I'll have to get in touch with Tim to say congrats. I haven't seen Tim and Anna in a while, so thanks for telling me that.
And Dylan is now officially the manager.
Dylan's the man.
He's the big guy on campus.
Oh, attaboy, Dylan. That's fantastic.
Yeah, way to go, Dylan.
That's
awesome.
Great.
All right, so also what's happening? Thursday night, Vinyl. Jason Rouse is going to be doing some stand-up comedy